Okay.
I think he wants us to start introducing ourselves.
Okay.
Thanks for that feedback. I remember that feedback.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, I'm Elena. Um, okay.
I'm Tracy. I'm
I
Kendall.
don't really know what you guys know me, but yes.
That,
Okay.
that is Elena. I'm Jenny. Okay.
Adam, you're the last one.
I'm Adam. Hello.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
All right.
This mastermind thing going.
So far, so good.
I'll go ahead and start. I don't know how many we want to share. I feel like there might need to be a limit if some of us have a lot.
Maybe like 3.
3? Okay.
I feel like 3 is a good number.
Yeah. I have like full page of stuff.
On top of it. Good job, person.
Well, honestly, this is really difficult for me. I like to be vulnerable. I like to reflect and all that stuff, but I really couldn't figure out a story that I tell myself. And then I finally did. It just took me a while. But my first one, and I think my main one, was I'm too young and unqualified or not experienced enough to land the job that I want with the fire department. And I think my age has a lot to do with it, honestly. But when I got to thinking about it, like, yeah, this deters me, but it still doesn't stop me. Like, I'm still trying to make moves towards getting there. But I think as of recently, it's definitely, I don't know. I've lost a little hope, but not all hope. Like, coming into the DAT, I was probably really naive and just thought, oh yeah, after the DAT, I'm gonna land this job. Like, that's what I'm getting my DAT for. It's like, I knew it was gonna be difficult, but it was all like sunshine and rainbows in my future. That's what I thought. So now that I've delved more into what it's going to take and stuff like that, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So it was that one, and honestly, a bunch of them kind of lumped in with that one. It's fire chiefs won't take me seriously because of my age and my small stature. And I still kind of believe these are true. But I'm working really hard not to. And let's see. The other one, this one kind of goes with this one, but I don't want to work as a single clinician because I fear of the loneliness and complacency because I'm used to working in this team-based approach now and I love it so much. And going into a position like that, I don't know, it's kind of scary for me. And I don't know if I'm going to like it. So it's kind of scary to follow my dream if I still fear of like what it's going to turn out to be. So then the second part was what, to like turn this into like positive stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't really know how to do this. So what I did was I listed some strengths. And what I pulled out was with the unqualified and too young part. The too young part I can't change. It's non-modifiable. But with my age, I have already experienced some pretty unique experiences with this population. I've completed or in the works of some pretty cool research initiatives with this population. And the DAT like learned some really awesome concepts to kind of sell myself, to better sell myself with what we focus on in this program. And then above everything else, I will always have my passion, like that burning passion for what I want and what I want to accomplish. So that was kind of how I try to alter my mindset. I don't know if that was the correct way, but it helped kind of like put all that stuff aside and remind myself that this is what I have going for me still. So
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you, Kirsten. I'll go next, but I feel like, so I did mine a little different on the rewording the story, because there was like 2 videos afterwards, and I kind of based it off the first one where she was grateful, how she turned all of her stories into reasons she's grateful for something. So I'm just gonna go through 3 of them, and mine's similar in the fact that like the first thing I wrote down when I was telling stories that I'm fresh out of undergrad and that I don't have as many years of experience as people that I work with. And so like that's something that I constantly feel like creeps into the back of my mind, and like I wouldn't say make my decisions, but definitely like affects how I make certain decisions. So then I wrote that I'm grateful that I was able to find a position out of undergrad, and that I'm still young and I have so much of my professional career ahead of me that I could start making changes now and affect them for longer down the road, so that I don't have to wait till I've been in a clinician for 12 years and then realize, well, I could have been doing it better for 12 years. So I'm grateful that I'm in the DAT program now instead of later on. Another one I had was that I tell myself, another story I tell myself that it doesn't matter if I try doing blank, depending on what it is, because people don't care and won't listen. So I feel like a lot, especially in the high school, it seems like either if I like try stuff with patients, they really don't care because they're either in there because they don't want to practice, or they're mad that I put them in and trying to do something because they want to go out to practice. Or I'm trying to talk to coaches or the other allied trainer and explain like, oh, well, I was reading something that, this, and this helps with this. Like, yeah, okay, I don't care. And I was like, okay, well, thanks for listening to that. But I wrote that I'm grateful to be able to continue trying new things, and that I have the freedom to do so without lashback from other people always come like asking me, why am I doing this, and why did you do that, and don't do that, or whatnot. So I'm grateful for being able to try things even though I feel lazy sometimes and I don't always do it. And then the last one, that if I try something that I'll make a mistake or I'll get in trouble and that can cause harm. And so I wrote that I'm grateful to be able to continue to learn from my mistakes and to continue to grow personally and professionally. So those were 3 of mine.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks, Kendall.
I'll go ahead and go next. So I don't have a big old long list or anything like that, but I do have one that's really limited me up until this point. And I'm slowly coming to the realization about how much this actually limits me. But a lot of the time I tell myself that I must do this on my own. That's kind of a big one for me because I have an issue asking for help. I very rarely ask for help or ask for any type of guidance, which, especially in the DAT, gets me into a little bit of a pickle sometimes. And another one that kind of plays off of that is I always tell myself, oh, others don't want to help me, which I don't know why I tell myself that. I can understand that it's untrue, but it's just one of those things that I've always told myself, and I've always been able to do things by myself to a certain degree. So I've never really gotten out of that habit of telling myself these stories. In a way that, like, turning that positively is difficult because it's just my own self-realization that I can't do it all and that other people do want to help me. I just have to ask for it. I don't know how to really reframe it other than this is a large flaw that I have. And I just need to work on asking for help when I actually need it and realizing that asking for help isn't a bad thing. It's ultimately to help myself grow and help myself become better in whatever aspect I'm asking for help in. So, yeah.
Adam, I feel like if you wanted to reframe it you could either talk about how like the fact that you don't ask help has made you like stronger and more capable because you feel like you do stuff on your own. So
Yeah.
that's a positive that came out of it, that doing stuff on your own has made you better at X, Y, and Z or time management or other things. Or that you could say that you're grateful that you have a team of people you could ask for help, even if you don't ask for their help. You're grateful that they're
Yes.
there if you truly needed the help. Granted, you probably do need some help, but you've been getting through it and you've been working and trying really hard. But if you were drowning instead of just taking gulps of water, as Dr. Graham said, like there would be people who would pick you up.
Yeah.
Also, on that, Adam, I actually, weirdly enough, wrote down a very similar thing. I also have a big struggle with asking for help. Sometimes I think it's more of a personal characteristic approach that, you know, what about my personality makes me feel like I can't ask for help? Because it's not like I've never had people help me in my life. There's not been a moment in my life that stands out that made me stop asking for help. But I know that I'm stubborn. And I also know that it's like a humbling effect for me. Like if I go up and ask them for help, like somehow for some reason, I feel like slightly ashamed that I've gotten to this point where I have to ask for help. And so it's kind of like this is my personal characteristic flaws. So if you think about your personality and maybe some of those qualities, and instead of like attacking it from this big standpoint of, okay, I should really start asking for help, even though you might not know where to start, if you kind of look at more of your personality and maybe kind of tweak one of those characteristics, you know, once a day or something, do something that changes a little bit of your personality into something better. So,
Okay. Yeah.
just a thought, because I have the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have the same thing too. So one of the same, similar, but kind of different, but I'll get there when I speak. So thanks for sharing, Adam.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
All right, well, I guess I'll go next then. So I'm a little bit more blunt, I guess you could say, when I wrote down my stuff. So like it sounds like awkwardly harsh, but it's just like my personality. So whatever. So the one thing I had said is it'll take many years for me to be as successful as what I'd hoped to be. And like, so I look at this two different ways. I could either see, okay, what is many years to some people versus many years to me. And the successful people that I know in my life, they didn't, you know, they started their success at like 40 or 50. And to me, that's like, oh my God, like I want to start my success like sooner than that. And so like that for some reason daunts me. And, you know, not that I'm afraid of hard work, but like it's just kind of like how long does it have to take in order for me to be where I consider myself successful, and that all of this paid off. So I wrote down that success should never be considered as a timeline, because one, can't see the future, and frankly, what is the hurry, as well. And success, we don't really measure success on timelines. We measure success on the characteristics of that person and where they are in their life, right? So I got to stop looking at it as a timeline and start thinking of like the little successes that I've already have accomplished, that I forget about, and that is actually building me up to be where I want to be soon. And then, so this one is terrible. I may not be able to handle having a family and continuing to grow towards my dream career. I don't know if that's just like, it's so terrible, but one, that's society. But two, in my undergrad, the successful women around me that taught me, none of them have a family. And for some reason, I don't know if Kirsten or Jennifer, Kendall, if you guys think this, but like I feel like I see a lot of female athletic trainers that are single, or you know, they're just kind of doing their own thing, or they don't have a family. And you know, sometimes I think, okay, I really want a family soon, but like I also really want my dream career. Do I have to work on one before I work on the other? Yes, Jenny.
I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
If it makes you feel any better, at my undergrad, for the longest time, we had 3 athletic trainers, all women. Our head didn't have any, like to my knowledge, anyone in our family, but
Yeah.
both of our other athletic trainers were married, each of them had 2 kids.
Okay.
All of them under the age of 6, maybe.
Yeah.
So recently had 2 kids, but
yeah. So I think it's just like the examples that I grew up around the last 4 years, and I'm like, none of these people have families. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they're very smart. They're brilliant women. They're driven. They're successful. I consider them successful, but they don't have a family. And so like, I'm like, I kind of want both, but it was hard to get in that mindset that I can have both and I can have both soon because like the females that I grew up around did not have both.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a terrible mindset. I think it's society driven as well. But yeah. Anyway,
right. There are people that can do it. So if that's
Yeah.
truly what you want, then that's just something you have to work for.
something extra.
It might be easier to pick one or the other, but that's the route some people take, but you don't have to take that route.
Right. Exactly. And lastly, I was going to say I also wrote about what Adam talked about, so I won't say that. Instead, I also wrote, I'm an awkward mess. So in parentheses after that, I struggle with good communication skills lately at my job, and may not consider myself as poised of a healthcare professional as I would like to be. And so for my positive, I wrote awkward can be cute, but on a serious note, you are learning how to become more poised and communicate better each day just by being within this program and by experience as well. So that's my stuff.
Thank you for sharing. I also felt that, like, I literally said to my mom, I think probably like my sophomore year of college, I was like, having a family is really important to me, and none of these women do.
Yeah.
And like, can you as an athletic trainer? Because it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
And the other people, yes, Jenny?
I remembered another person, so I feel like it makes the story better.
Okay.
So those are the 3 people in my undergrad. For my internship, I worked with a professional soccer team. She had a 3-year-old boy. Granted, everyone I've mentioned so far has boys, but that's, I think, unrelated to the subject.
Right.
Well, and I don't know why we like think this way though. Like
it is society, and there are a lot of people that I feel like they make that choice. They say, well, I want to have a great career, and those are some of the people you look up to because they have a great career.
Yeah.
But I do think there are several people out there.
And I will say, I think this goes both ways. I don't think this is really a gender issue as much as it is an athletic training issue.
Yeah.
Because I would love to have a family one day. That'd be great.
Right.
But like, if you look at athletic training as a whole, the majority of athletic trainers that I've known, at least like at the level that I want to work, don't have a family.
Right.
I know, that men's basketball athletic trainer at Ball State has a full family and everything, which is fine. The head football athletic trainer married into a family. So like, his kids aren't really his. They're like adopted, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that fulfills him, but still, like, I want to have my own family that I raised from birth and all that stuff. So I don't know. I feel like there's more of an athletic training issue and a work-life balance issue in athletic training more than it is
big work-life balance.
Anything
yeah,
else.
Because then I also, like, if they do have families, I often see that they don't spend a lot of time with their family. And they know they don't, and they feel bad or they feel guilty. And I don't want to I don't want something like that to eat me up while I'm trying to do both. Like, I don't think I can deal with that emotional stress as well. So
the other thing that I noticed is that a lot of athletic trainers that I know are also married to other athletic trainers because they get it. Like, they get the schedule, they get what we do, and that.
Yeah.
So you're not going to work from 8 to 5, and then your spouse is going to work like we are until 10 p.m. So, but it was a genuine concern that I had in the program because I was like, Mom, I don't think that that's something that I want to do. Like, I want to have a family, and then here I am. So I'll share last. My first one is related to what Adam and Elena said. mostly about doing it by myself. Mine was that I can't keep fighting by myself. I feel like every day I go to work, I'm fighting some sort of, not like literally fighting, but fighting some sort of issue, and I'm doing it by myself. So like an example is, my favorite example recently is that 2 of my 4 football coaches literally think that concussions are a myth. And which is just not correct. And so I feel like I'm constantly fighting that fight, and I'm doing it by myself. And there are other people in the school that obviously know that that's not true.
Right.
There are other football coaches that know that's not true, but I'm the only one that's saying anything for the health and well-being of my patients, or the patients. And so, and like my athletic director just doesn't like confrontation. My principal doesn't care, like stuff like that. So it's like, that's my other thing that I have on here. I am so tired. And like, I just have to remember that I am grateful that I'm this busy and that I have a full-time job and that I'm in this program to be this tired. And I just feel like every day I go to work and it's kind of emotionally draining. So to go back to the whole doing things by myself, I do think it has a lot to do with that people look at me as an independent person and they think that I don't need help. And so I have to be more open and vulnerable to the idea of asking so that people know that I might need it. Because I think some people just look at like, oh, that's Kendall, she can do it by herself. And so she can handle it by herself. And so I have to be more vulnerable in the fact that asking for help is fine, or not looking so put together all the time would be fine. The other thing that I have is that I have a huge wall. Like I have a big brick wall, I feel like, and that's just me as a person. And I think that comes off sometimes with others in work and in my, home life. And so I have to remember that just because I have a wall doesn't mean that people can't break through it. It's very cliche, but yeah. And it's okay to have the wall because that's just who I am as a person. Yeah.
I just can I say something real quick?
Yes.
So, first of all, when you're like, maybe I need to look like, not so put together, I totally disagree with you. I think that there's nothing better than somebody who looks like they're put together and they're confident. That's good for healthcare professionals, especially because people are putting their trust in you and your care, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with looking put together, but then you lead into, you have a wall, and maybe it's not that people don't approach you or think you need help because you look put together or you look confident. Maybe they can see that wall instead. Maybe they feel your like hesitancy or whatever you want to say, call it, to not go out of your way to ask for help or something. Mm-hmm. And that's what they sense instead. So don't think that you can't be put together because you want to be put together. That's good.
Right. Yeah. Yes. I've always been, I get what you're saying. I don't think I worded it the best.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't putting yourself down for looking confident.
Yes. I think that I am confident, and I think that I've always been pretty confident, especially in my work stuff. Even though I'm not always at all. But like, those types of things that whole concussions are a myth. I handled that situation and I handled it fine. Did I want to do it by myself? Not necessarily. I wish that somebody would have been there to back me up, but I'm sure it is the wall, and I'm sure it is the looking confident that they're like, she's got it. She doesn't need our help. And my wall gets in the way of my personal life as well. I know that a lot of us have talked about like our work life, but that wall really gets in the way of my personal life. And I just have to remember that it doesn't always have to be like that. I'm grateful for the way that I've been raised. I'm grateful for the way that I am as a person. But I do have to remember that the wall is not permanent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to be. And that's it. I had other things, but
That was good.
No, good talk.
Yep.
All right. Anybody have any last comments?
Yep. We got about 6 minutes left.
Concerns?
I want to say we're all freaking amazing people. We're all in the DAT. We're all successful already. We've made it this far. And I'm always here if y'all ever need anything. And I'm super proud of everybody. And I'm glad we were able to be vulnerable today.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Great way to start the day.
Yes. Good start.
Woohoo, I'm so hungry.
All right, guys. Well, if no one has any other comments, I will go ahead and end the meeting, or at least stop recording.
Beautiful.
Good?